to Royal Rebounds TV with Calvin and Barry. Just two crazy fans of the Sacramento Kings and they sharing their opinion. So be sure that you subscribe. It's for the fans, by the fans. Whether you chilling on the couch or wilding in the stands. For laid back conversations about the Kings, subscribe here. Staying down until we come up thinking this gonna be our year. We're here drinking beer, talking about the Kings. Be sure you subscribe so you can hear that bell ring. Yeah.
The Kings won, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, the Kings won, yeah. The Sacramento Kings, oh, yeah, the Kings won, yeah. Fox is so fast. Sabonis is so strong, yeah. Coach Mike is so smart, yeah. They are the playoff bound, yeah.
What's up, Kings fans? Welcome back to Royal Rebounds, the Sacramento Kings YouTube channel for fans, by fans. If you're a Kings fan, make sure you smash up that like button down below. If you're happy about the win tonight, make sure you smash up that subscribe button. Kings win tonight. They beat the Pacers 137-114. But Calvin, what is the most important thing about tonight?
Light the beam.
Light the beam! Woo!
Yes, sir. Let's go, man. The beam is lit.
The beam is lit. Oh, man. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Shout out to everybody here in the chat. I see Dre, the bouncer, PK, Mike, Jeff, the lefty, Charlie, Brian, Lane, Callum, Jeremiah. Welcome in, everybody. And anybody else I did miss. Lydia, Tito, welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Everybody, awesome night. I'm feeling great. Sacramento Kings win. They beat the Pacers. Nobody's asking who won the trade now, Calvin. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. I got the chain back on. The beam is lit. I call me a savant or something. I felt this game coming. I knew this was going to be a blowout. I just knew it for some reason. This was the Kings game to have all the way.
Alfie, man, what's up? Good to see you here. Yeah, I mean, I had a little bit of a feeling that we were going to win this game, but Calvin, I got a feeling before every game that we're going to win the game. So it's hard for me to differentiate those feelings. But anyways, it feels good finally to get a victory, right? We're on a 3-game slide. We're able to come back, beat the Pacers, improve. Now we are 2 games above 500. We got a rough couple games before this tough 6-game road trip that we're going to go on. So definitely feels good to get a victory tonight. And the Kings improved to 11-9. Calvin, give me your first thoughts on the game tonight.
Well, Barry, first of all, I just want to say I did something today that I have never done in my entire life. I bet on the Sacramento Kings to win.
What?
Let me not paraphrase, but let me elaborate a little bit. I didn't actually bet any of my own money, but I work at a hotel, at a bar, and I work with a lot of Filipino guys. And if anybody knows a Filipino person, they love to gamble. So long story short, these guys found out, a year ago or so that I do a basketball podcast. I literally wake up to texts every morning from Uncle Larry asking me who the picks for the NBA games are. I told him to go all in on the Kings tonight to win this game because I just felt like this was Sacramento's game, and they played a fantastic game. I mean, I thought the energy and pace right from the get-go was really, really good. The Kings play their best when they're well-balanced. De'Aaron Fox is a phenomenal player, and we would love to see him average 30 points a game, but I don't know if that's necessarily the best recipe for this Kings team. He can definitely get hot in a close game and take over and have, these huge point or offensive outbursts, but the Kings are at their best when they share the ball, they hit threes, and they play at a fast pace, and that's what they did tonight. And they actually won this game in areas where you wouldn't expect or where the Kings have not won games very often in the past. They dominated on the glass, and they played some really good defense overall. The Indiana shooting percentage, not good for the whole game. The half-court defense was great. And, of course, getting out in transition, which is beating Indiana at their own game. They're one of the best in the league. And in transition and fast break points especially, the Kings dominated them in fast break points tonight.
Yeah, definitely. They were showing those numbers on the screen. I'm looking at them like, this is crazy. The Kings are absolutely killing it on the fast break points tonight. Shout out to everybody else that's just joining in. Ninja, what is up? I think I saw Makami in here. Good to see you, Makami. Jeff, yes, the next game isn't until December 3rd. Quite crazy. So we do have some days off before traveling to LA to face the Clippers. Dude, I get all messed up now because I've been watching so much football and I see the Chargers and it's like LAC and I was calling them the Clippers for a while. Now I'm like looking at LAC Clippers and I think Chargers. They got me all messed up, man. They gotta figure out. They gotta figure it out. What's up, Neil? Good to see you here, Neil. Shout out to Callum. Appreciate you, Callum. Some more money for the Metuverse Beer Fund. Appreciate that. Derek is here. Welcome in, Derek. Instead of light the beam, what about cue the Island Boys? Interesting. The Island Boys are growing on me a little bit, Calvin. They're definitely growing on me because I think it's like a psychological thing now where it's
exactly. I was just gonna say that
when we
you only
win,
associate them with a win.
Yeah. It's like what was that thing we learned in school about the dog? You like ring the bell when you give him a treat, and then you like don't give him a treat, but you ring the bell and his like mouth salivates. So I think my mouth salivates when we play the Island Boys because I think we just won a game basically.
There you go.
But they're definitely growing on me, that's for sure. Let's go ahead here and look into the box score. This is my favorite part of the night since they won. As you can see here, the Kings absolutely destroy Indiana. They win by 23 tonight. The magic number, 137-114 over the Pacers. Not a lot of minutes tonight for the starters. The Kings were basically blowing them out almost all game. They were up by 25 at one point, then they bounced around back to 20, and then back up again. Sabonis played 23 minutes tonight. He was in foul trouble early in this game, ends with 4 personal fouls, but he did get in foul trouble quite early in this game. 11 points for him, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, almost another triple-double for him. 5 of 9 shooting on the night, 22 points for Harrison Barnes, 5 rebounds, 2 assists for him, 6 of 9 shooting, and 1 for 4 from three-point range in 26 minutes. Keegan Murray, 26 minutes for him as well. We got to see him start in this game. And then he actually came in garbage time, which was interesting. I thought it was the right move, Calvin. I think you do as well. But, this guy needs more time on the court. He needs more confidence, and that definitely helps. But 14 points for him and 6 rebounds. De'Aaron Fox, 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists. Most of this came in the second half of this game, even though he didn't play a lot of the fourth quarter due to garbage time. But I believe he had like 8 points or something at halftime. 13 for Kevin Huerter, 2 of 6 from three-point range in 28 minutes, and then 8 points for Metu. Everybody played tonight. We got to see Rashawn Holmes play. Dellavedova played. Alex Len. We got to see KZ play 15 minutes in this game. Davion Mitchell, 8 points, a rebound, 2 assists, 15 points for Terrence Davis, including 3 of 8 from three-point range. And then my guy, I always save the best for last, Calvin. My guy, Malik Monk, 20 points tonight, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 6 of 9 shooting, and 3 of 6 from three-point range in only 20 minutes. I also got to throw it out here, Calvin. My Malik Monk jersey has still not arrived in the mail from Fanatics, so I'm mad about it.
As you should be. It's always tough to get stuff out here, though.
As far as the Pacers go here, 22 points for this guy that got hit in the mouth, Jalen Smith. He left the game with a bloody lip. He's maybe going to wear a mouth guard next time in 19 minutes. 9 points, 10 assists for Tyrese Halliburton, 17 for Buddy Hield, and 22 points for the leading scorer off the bench and the leading scorer of all rookies, Benedict Mathurin. Calvin, anything else that really jumped out here for you on the box score?
I would just have a big hats off and kudos to the Kings bench tonight. Again, that's another major component in when the Kings play well. They always get good production off the bench. And tonight it was everybody, not just Malik Monk. It's not necessarily just points either, right? Davion Mitchell just shines out to me like a bright star every time I watch him play. even if he doesn't score, because he changes the game so much defensively. But I thought he was really good at picking his moments on offense too. Terrence Davis, again, another really good game off the bench. That alley-oop, you and I just kept on, like, our jaws hit the floor pretty much when that play happens, because you don't even think that he's going to be able to catch that. He still ends up putting it down. And again, I'm going to give a lot of credit to Chimezie Metu. I thought he played a really, really good game. He was great on the boards tonight. He did a good job playing the Sabonis role when Sabonis was out of the game. Still that lob threat, every time over the top of the defense. I thought he was really good tonight, and the Kings got a huge production from everybody that played off the bench.
Shout out here to Paralux Surveying and Realty, Monk candidate for 6th Man of the Year. I couldn't agree more. I really hope he is in that conversation. I think he definitely deserves it. The dude has been playing incredible. Shout out to Fred Gonzalez here. Bro, this game showed me a lot about this team. I agree, right? We continue to see this team bounce back. We're on a tough 3-game losing streak. We're talking about, where they're going to be at in this game. This was a slippery slope. If they lost this game, if they got blown out in this game, I think it definitely would have taken a toll on their confidence. So definitely a big win here for the Sacramento Kings. As far as team stats, the Kings shot 50% from the field as opposed to 40% for the Pacers, 37% from three-point range for the Kings as opposed to 32% for the Pacers. About the same free throws attempted. The Kings shot an incredible 86% from three-point range. They also out-rebounded the Pacers. They were even on assists, pretty even on total turnovers. That's a tongue twister. Total turnovers is a tongue twister. 18 for Sacramento, 15 for the Pacers. And then you mentioned fast break points, 31-8. Definitely a huge difference maker. 32-point largest lead for the Sacramento Kings tonight as well. Feels good, Calvin. Feels really good. Talk. Tell me how good this team is.
This team's good. I mean, this isn't breaking news anymore. This is old news. We know that this team is good. Yeah, they're coming off of a losing streak, but again, they played really tough teams. They had a 3-game road trip, 3 games in 4 days, and you expected them when they got back home to play a lot better, and they did. Even against Phoenix, they played well. Devin Booker is on one of the craziest tears of anybody in the NBA right now, so good luck beating them to anyone on any given night. But this, again, felt like a get-right game right from the beginning, right from the tip-off here, with Tyrese coming back, Buddy coming back. You could feel the energy in the stadium tonight. It's always popping in Golden 1, but I don't know who wanted this game more, the Kings players or the fans inside Golden 1 Arena. That was a loud, raucous crowd. It had a playoff-type atmosphere. Everything was in place for the Kings to play a good game, especially if they came out with the right type of energy and focus, which I think they did immediately. They had their foot on the gas pedal right from the beginning. And I think what you're more the big takeaway here is this is what the Kings can look like defensively. Indiana's not a bad offensive team. Tyrese is having a phenomenal year. Ben Mathurin is having a really, really good year. They've got some good young players, good shooters. Jalen Smith, you saw how they can space the floor with him and Miles Turner today. So, and Indiana's a team that's been hot as of late either. So it's not like this is a rollover win or one of those cupcake wins either. And Sacramento's defense brought it from the beginning all the way to the finish. So that's the thing I think if you're going to look at, is this team building? Are they getting better? Or are they just one of the best offensive teams, that they're going to try to outscore you every night? No, they can actually stop people as well. It's about doing it consistently and being, collected as a team. And they definitely had that tonight.
Yeah, great point. Trey Lyles does miss his 2nd straight game due to a non-COVID related illness. We got to see Metu play a little bit more. Some other guys fill in for him tonight. Also, we had 2 missed free throws in a row by the opposing team. So if you were a Golden One center tonight, you were eligible for a free chocolate chip cookie. So hopefully you picked up one of those while you're there. Everyone's talking about the return of Tyrese and Buddy. And I do want to talk about that tonight, Calvin. But, I think we saw a bigger face in the building tonight. He was sitting next to Vivek, and he didn't have a Kings hat on, Calvin, but 50 Cent was in the building tonight. He was in the club, or in the club. He was doing it. What were your thoughts on 50 Cent being there tonight?
Man, I don't know. He looked like he was doing a little window shopping, trying to see how the Kings play like PIMPs. He was in the building. I don't know. He was sitting next to Vivek. Didn't look very happy. I'm not sure. But he was there.
Yeah,
they should have had him perform at halftime or something. I don't know.
That's what I'm thinking. Is like one of these ones. He's got to be performing at halftime. But maybe too many people saw him try and go upside down at the Super Bowl, so they're kind of holding back on that for now. But yeah, as Callum says, he was there for shoot around. He was there early. Also sat courtside. Be interesting to see, what his impact is on this Kings team, other than the fact that he's like selling alcohol at the games with his name on it. Would hope that he has a little bit more of a connection to that. Shout out to Lane here. Split a Jester juice on me. Thank you, Lane.
Thank you, sir.
We will definitely do that. Definitely. All right, so let's return back to Tyrese and Buddy. And before we jump in here, I got to remind everyone that's just joining in, welcome in, guys. Kings win tonight. It feels really good. If you want to make me feel good, smash up that like button. We need 60 likes on this video. I think that's the new number. 60 likes on the video during the live. We can guarantee a win on Saturday against the Clippers. So please smash up that thumbs up button and hit that subscribe button as well. Calvin and I put out fresh Kings content, and we're live after every single Kings game, win or loss. If you want to have fun and party, or if you just want some therapy, we are here for you. So definitely hit that subscribe button and hit that notification cowbell as well, so you'll be notified every time we put out a new video. We're currently doing post games, but we want to do more content as well, and hitting that notification bell will definitely keep you in the know. Calvin, I see you flexing that chain there. You want to lift it up, give it a little jingle?
Well, I don't know how much you can hear the jingle, but it's here. We got
that sounds real.
The W for the win, and we got the M for Michigan. Go Blue, baby!
It sounds real, man. How heavy is that chain? Are you getting a workout?
It's I'm not gonna be like 50 Cent or anything, doing the reverse crunches from the pull-up bar with the chain on or something like that. But it's got a little weight to it. Yeah, sure.
It kind of looks like many men, wish death upon you or something.
Something like that.
I'm telling you, fellas, you're going to want that cowbell.
Can we get some cowbell, Calvin?
Well, we got some cowbell.
I think instead of the cowbell, it needs to be the cowbell.
The cowbell, I like that.
Cowbell.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
There you go. Hurt their ears, Calvin. Give me some more cowbell.
More
All right.
Cowbell.
Let's jump back into what the subject of the evening was. Sacramento Kings defeating the Pacers. But what everyone wants to talk about is the return of Tyrese Halliburton to Sacramento. It's the return of Sabonis against his old team, the Pacers, although they'd played. But, Buddy Hield was there as well. We saw the introductions. Tyrese got a lot of cheers, some boos. Buddy Hield was basically all boos. We heard them announce during the game the career 3-point leader for the Sacramento Kings, Buddy Hield. We saw him break that record last year, right? The dude had been on this team longer than anybody else currently on this roster. Not such a warm welcoming for him in Sacramento. What were your thoughts there?
Pretty interesting. I was honestly surprised. I mean, Sacramento's not necessarily the fan base that I think you expect that kind of thing from. Is it justified? I don't know. I think that more so Sacramento fans maybe thought that they could get into Buddy Hield right from the beginning of this game, and that's what they were trying to do. I don't know for sure, but it just added to the energy in the building, the playoff type atmosphere. I mean, that's something you see at a playoff game, basically.
Yeah, I mean, Buddy Hield, I don't know what he was expecting, what was going to happen when he got there, right? Like, you're not walking into a candy shop. We know you're trying to get rich or die trying, by signing a big contract with the Sacramento Kings. So, I mean, I think he could probably expect to be booed. But, hey, I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way. I've absolutely enjoyed watching Buddy Hield. There's been a lot of times where I've been, really upset with him, frustrated, late game situations, stuff like that. But I really do enjoy and did enjoy having him on this team for the majority of the time. He's a hard worker. I know Katie announced it tonight that he's only missed, 4 games in his NBA career. I think this is year 7. He's only missed 4 total games, which is absolutely crazy. That is so crazy. The dude's a hard worker, and he does try his best. So, I do wish the best for Buddy Hield. But, hey, if I was in the arena tonight, I would be boo, boo. You know me, Calvin.
You would have been a boo bird, huh?
Oh, yeah. 100%, dude. I'm not a window shopper.
Yeah, I think Buddy probably has 21 questions after that game, and all of them are, why you guys hate me? Why you booing me?
Hey, in case you're not paying attention, each time Calvin and I say a 50 Cent song name, you gotta take a shot or take a drink or something if you want to play around.
Oh, man, good luck. You're already way behind.
All right, back on topic here. Oh, man, let's talk a little bit about Domantas Sabonis. Almost another triple-double for him. Only 11 points. I know a lot of people want more, right? They want this guy to be like a 20 and 10, 20 and 15 guy. But they didn't need that from him tonight. Only played 23 minutes. Some of that was due to foul trouble. Trey Lyles was out, so we would have maybe expected to see him play a little bit more than just the 23 minutes. But, what are you seeing out of Sabonis? What do you like? What do you dislike? And then I want to kind of talk about what you and I were talking about in terms of like Metu coming in, being a replacement for him. I'm trying not to laugh here. But go for it.
Well, look, what do you like with Sabonis? How do you not like everything? I mean, really the only knock you can get against this guy so far this season is that he picks up early fouls. And a lot of that isn't necessarily because of him. It's not that he's out of control on defense or in the wrong position on defense. He's always, or for the most part, in the right spot. And he contests shots really well. It's just a question of whether or not the refs are going to give him the call or not. Tonight, you can just see, and as good as Metu and Lyles have played off the bench, again, we talked about this after the last game, they're being asked to play a position that they aren't. I mean, Sabonis, I don't know if he really is a true center, but he's much more of a center than either of those guys is. Plus, his skill set with this style of offense that they play is a match made in heaven. So for Metu and Lyles, they have to, they're trying to do more things that are out of the ordinary for them on a game-to-game basis. This is where Sabonis loves to live. The rake and take, as Mark Jones always likes to call it, his ability to push the ball up the floor as that point or initiator of the offense. They got so many good looks at the rim today because of that. His vision is phenomenal for a guy his size. His ball handling scares me sometimes. He likes to go to the slowest spin move I've ever seen in my entire life, but it's effective. And he battles inside every night. If he's hitting his outside shot, that's a plus. I mean, you said it. He's flirting with a triple-double every single night. He does so much for this team. And you can see such a dramatic difference in how the Kings play. Not necessarily their effectiveness all the time, but just how the Kings play when he's on the floor versus when he's not.
What up, Will? What up, DJ? Jim, Matthew, what's up, everybody? Dennis, Brian, I think I said hi to you guys. Vangarang, welcome in, everybody. Welcome. Welcome in, James. Calvin, the only thing that I really have to knock on Sabonis would be the foul trouble. Do you have any insights on that? What you would recommend if you're the coaching staff? Because, some of them are questionable calls. Some of them are just bad decisions. But, what do you think is one thing that Sabonis could do to help himself be more available, late in games?
Really the only thing I would say is I've seen him try to extend his defense a little too aggressively, sometimes outside of the paint, and pick up what I think are completely unnecessary fouls there. The foul calls that he's getting in the paint around the rim, you're going to have to live with that because, again, like I said, it just depends on how the game is officiated every night. And also, when you are a team that plays a relatively small lineup without a real traditional rim-protecting big in the middle, he's the last line of defense. So whether it's on offensive rebounds, which they rely on him so much for to help, plug up those holes inside on the glass, or having to defend the rim because somebody got beaten on a line drive. Tonight it didn't happen maybe as much as I've seen in the past, but Kevin Huerter gets beat off of an initial drive a lot. And we've seen other guys on this team lose their man initially. Harrison Barnes, it goes down the line, on and on. So you're put in a difficult position if you're Sabonis because of the roster makeup, the style of play, everything. So obviously you'd like him to stay out of foul trouble, but I think that he does a great job of challenging and contesting shots. For the most part, we saw that move on Tyrese today where they actually got the call overturned. You can't really play better defense in that situation, I think, than that. So you got to live and die with those foul calls. Hopefully the refs are going to be on your side more often than not, but I don't really think that he needs to make some dramatic change to the way that he's playing. I don't see that sort of a thing. He doesn't aggressively slap at the ball when players come through the lane. He's always, getting big, trying to defend the rim with his hands straight up. So again, it's when you have human officials, you run into that problem there. And if guys are able to attack the rim, Sacramento's been bad at giving up a lot of points in the paint or getting, run down the throat of their defense a lot. He's going to be put in tough situations when that happens.
Light the beam! Woo! Yes, sir. Let's go, man.
The beam is lit.
The beam is lit. Sorry, man. I got to just play a couple of these because it's been so long since we did it, so fuck it.
The Kings won, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, the Kings won, yeah. The Sacramento Kings, oh, yeah, the Kings won, yeah. Fox is so fast. Sabonis is so strong, yeah. Coach Mike is so smart, yeah. They are the playoff bound, yeah.
All right. Matthew's balling tonight. He's flicking pennies at people like they're hundreds. He said he's firing up the heater tonight like a big spender because he's excited the Kings won. The Kings are lighting up the beam. It feels good, man. We're celebrating. Kings fans are celebrating tonight, and that's what you guys should be doing because, it's been too long. We're getting wins. It's feeling good. It's finally feeling good. So, Calvin, can we officially close the book on the Sabonis Halliburton trade? The Kings win the trade, right? Is that what we're stating here, or was it a tie? Is it too early still? We put it in the hands of the referees tonight. They overturned the call. They said it was a foul on Tyrese.
They did.
Sabonis is in the clear. That to me was my key to say, okay, we won the deal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still going to be on the fence here. I don't really think you look at it as either team won the deal. I think both teams got something they really wanted and needed out of this trade. Right now, it's working for both teams. We could be sitting here in April with both of these teams in the playoffs if things continue the way that they've gone so far. So it's really hard to decipher who actually won this deal. I think both teams, did a really good job in this trade. And if you're both GMs, you have to be sitting here feeling pretty good at this moment because it's hard to trade away an all-star player, right? If you're the Pacers.
Yep. Just a heads up to everybody that's watching. No basketball at the bar tonight, so we're just going to be here on Royal Rebounds, hanging with you guys. And also, the fan line is currently closed. We're doing some work on the fan line, so it should be open very soon. But no fan line tonight. So feel free to tag us on Twitter or interact here in the chat. We'd be happy to answer all your questions. Talk about anything you guys want to talk about, as long as it's Kings related or it's fun to talk about. So go ahead and say what's up here in the chat. And a question I want to hear from you, Calvin. But while Calvin's giving his answer, I want to hear from everybody that's watching. who was your king of the night? You know, was it Malik Monk and his 20 points? Was it De'Aaron Fox with his 19? Did you like Sabonis' almost triple-double? Do you think Harrison Barnes was huge? Go ahead and spam the chat. Just write the last name of the player that you think was the king of the night. Go ahead and post that there in the chat so we can get a feel on where you guys are at. And then, Calvin, I'm going to throw it to you. Give me your king of the night.
I think there's a lot of good answers for this one. Obviously, Malik Monk had a great game off the bench again. I always love Davion, even though the numbers aren't flashy. I think he affects and changes the game, you know, especially when they get up big like this and have really good team defenses. He seems to be the catalyst more often than not. So I would love to pick him as well. Harrison Barnes had a really, really good game too, but I'm going to go with Sabonis tonight. I think that his overall impact on the game was so good that they got off to such a good start in transition, and a lot of those were him initiating the break and finding guys for open layups. So I'm going to go with Sabonis tonight. I think he earns it.
That's a good choice, man, dude. I'm a horrible person. I asked you the question. I'm not even going to give my own answer because I can't even narrow it down. There was so many exciting plays, right? I love what you guys are talking about in the chat. That Davion Mitchell block was dope. Unfortunately, I think they called goaltending on that, so it didn't really count. But that thing was so exciting to watch. That dunk, the alley-oop dunk we're going to see in the top 10 plays tonight, that was absolutely legit. You know, I love what Malik Monk did. I think Harrison Barnes has been huge for the Kings. 22 points for him. We saw him run to the locker room, or at least it seemed like he was running the locker room for a minute. He seemed to be right back out there on the floor, so I don't think he's dealing with any injuries or anything like that. But here's a stat that I want to read out to you, Calvin. Currently, the Kings are 8-1 when Harrison Barnes scores 13 plus in a game. He is 3-8, or sorry, the team is 3-8 when he scores less than 13 in a game. How would you take a stat like that? You know, does that mean that HB is you know, the key for this team?
Well, he's definitely one of them, right? I mean, he's a starter on this team, and this is, look, I think you can go across the NBA, take the best teams in the league, and you'll find similar stats like that from their role players, right? Because in order to be a great team, you've got to get elevated play from your role players. Your stars can carry you on individual nights, and some stars may carry you on more individual nights than others. But even look at the Boston Celtics, man. Like, we know how good Jason Tatum is. We know how good Jaylen Brown is, Marcus Smart, even Al Horford, all these guys. Derek White is starting for them now, and he's playing really, really well. So in order to stay at the top and to be a really good team, you've got to get contributions from your big contributions from your role players, whether they're in the starting lineup or off the bench. So he is a key to this team, just like Malik Monk is a key to this team, just like Davion Mitchell is a key to this team, just like especially Fox and Sabonis are, right? I mean, you've got to play well as a team in order to win in the NBA.
You definitely have to. Shout out to NVRP. I think I saw Charlie in here, or Charles. Welcome in, Charles. Welcome in, everybody. Yes, it does feel good to get a win tonight. It feels great. Feels great. Pika House, haven't seen you in a while. Welcome in. It feels good, Calvin. Feels really, really good. I just feel like it's just like a moment of silence, you know, stretch a little bit. You know, we're getting wins, dude. It's feeling good, man. It is feeling really good. I don't even have words, Calvin, for how I feel right now because the Kings just keep winning games. We've been doing this show for what? This is like 3 seasons now, almost 4 seasons. You know, started during COVID. And it got really hard at times. It got really hard when this team is bad, but hey, you know, we stayed determined. We stayed here. I'm not saying that, you know, this team is you know, going to win a championship this year. They could potentially miss the playoffs this year. They could, right? I'm knocking on wood. But, you know, I think that this team has shown something. They look special. They look like a whole nother team, a whole different team. And it's so much more fun doing these post games with you guys here in the chat. So we really appreciate you all. And for some reason, as soon as the Island Boys became Kings fans, the Kings started winning games. I don't really know how that works, but a weird place that we live in. I think HB might be the key. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, it's hard to argue with 8-1. I talk about him being the glue guy, him figuring out what he needs to do on this team to make things work. We've seen, multiple players on this team have bad games, and this team has been able to overcome that. Recently it's been Fox has been struggling a little bit offensively. Of course, the Kings lost the past 3. They won tonight. He only had 19. I'd like to see a little bit more from him. But I think that HB is starting to finally figure out that little spot. Like, if he needs to score 15 points for this Kings team to win basketball games, that makes me feel pretty confident, because I know he's definitely capable of that. Let's talk a little bit about Keegan Murray. I mentioned 26 minutes for him tonight, 14 points. Didn't shoot well in this game. 4 of 12 from the field, 2 of 9 from three-point range. A bunch of those shots were late in this game in garbage time, where they're just giving him the ball and he's trying to find his stroke. But we've heard a lot of people talk positive about Keegan Murray. The coaching staff likes him a lot. We heard people raving about him in the summer league preseason. And then, like I say on every show, we forget this guy's a rookie, right? We expect so much out of him. Then he has a bad game, and then we got to kind of reel back and say, oh, wait, this guy has not played that many games in the NBA, right? The Kings have only played 20 games this season, which is a decent sample size. But this guy's been up, he's been down. How are you feeling about Keegan Murray? Tell me how good he is, Calvin. Tell me how good he is and how good this team is. That's what I'm here for tonight.
Well, look, I'm still in the same spot on Keegan Murray. It's like you said, it hasn't been that long. You need more of a sample size before you really start to feel nervous or worried about him. I still think that his skill set fits this team really, really well. He still seems a little unsure of himself. He definitely got up a lot of shots tonight, which I like to see. Look, he didn't make a ton of them, but there's a very big difference between having open shots and refusing to take them because you're unsure about it, and having open shots and saying, okay, I'm going to shoot my way out of this slump if it's the last thing I do. He got a couple to go down tonight. He dunked on somebody, like we saw Mike Brown talk about in his post-practice press conference, saying that he wants him to be more aggressive at the rim. So you like to see that. And again, I think he's just in the middle of adjusting to the speed and strength of the NBA game. It's one thing when you come in and you're a rookie and you're playing on a pretty good team, right? So you're not the first person that the defense is looking for or game planning against. You're going to get a bunch of open looks, and he knocked a bunch of those down early on in the season. He's not in the same position anymore. It's not going to come that easy to him, and I still think he does look a little bit unsure of himself. So Mike Brown is the right type of guy, I think, to help him find his way through this mess. It's a long season. If we're in January, February, and he's still shooting like he's shooting now, obviously people are going to continue to raise more and more questions. But I have enough confidence in him as a player. I think that his skill set fits the NBA, it fits this team, and eventually he's going to come out of it. He'll start knocking down shots again.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think one thing to focus on is, getting better in between each game, right? From one game to another. You don't have to get a lot better, just a little bit. And also after the game, you don't want people asking 21 questions. So, Keegan Murray is going to get just a little bit better each game, and then pretty soon, Disco Inferno, right? Calvin, we got a question for you here in the chat, or a request. You see it in blue from You Wish?
I do not see it. Yeah.
Shout out to You Wish here. We appreciate the super chat.
Oh yeah. Won the trade. We won the trade, guys. We won the trade. I'm more concerned about breaking the 16-year playoff drought, but we won the trade.
Come on, man. We need some more enthusiasm, dude. That's $1.99 right there.
Hey. We won the trade, guys. We won the trade. It's over. Congratulations. Sacramento Kings, winner of the 2021-2022 NBA trade deadline.
There you go. I like it, Calvin. I like it. More cowbell. That just goes to show. You guys put $1.99 in a super chat, you're going to get 100%, 150% out of Calvin. So that is very, very important there. Because, if I can't do it, it can't be done. I'm running out of song names.
Barry, you're killing it. I've stopped trying a long time ago with the 50 Cent references, but you're killing it, man.
All right, back to Keegan Murray. Let's talk about nicknames. We're still trying to settle on a Keegan Murray nickname. Calvin, I know your favorite. You want to let everybody know?
Threegan?
Threegan Murray.
That's Barry's nickname for Keegan Murray. Threegan Murray. He needs to hit a couple more threes before we start throwing that.
I got three.
But
I got three right now. I like Threegan. I like Slim Duncan, and I like Special K.
I'm just going to call him Keegan, I think. I don't know.
The librarian.
I've seen that one before.
Interesting.
That's funny.
A good one. You guys have any we're not going with Kegel, Matthew. Sorry. You guys got any
we haven't decided yet, Matthew.
Nicknames.
Kegel is still in the running. We don't have a nickname for him, I think is what Barry's saying.
Would you guys trade Holmes for Andre Drummond? I feel like Drummond would be a better backup center than Metu. Drummond is one of the best rebounders in the league. That's interesting. Overall, I think that Drummond is a better player than Metu, but he doesn't do the same things. And I think a conversation you and I had during the game, Calvin, right, is it seems like this team is really kind of establishing what their culture is like and what their system is. And they're creating a system, and then they're plug and playing players to continuously play in that system. So like if Sabonis, obviously Metu is not Sabonis, right? But he's kind of a poor man's version of Sabonis, the way he can pass the ball and some of these other things that he's been doing. So it seems like when Sabonis comes out, they throw Metu in there, and they can kind of run a very, very similar form of offense through Metu. They cannot do the same thing through Andre Drummond. So, yes, he's a better rebounder. Yes, he's a better shot blocker than Metu. But honestly, I haven't seen Drummond play in a minute, for one. How old is he, according to Lydia? And two, it's like they're just much different players. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, Drummond and Metu are much different players. I'm not really that against this, though, honestly. Andre Drummond has been one of the most underrated players for me for a long time. I don't think he's the same as he used to be, but this guy is the ultimate rebound champion. A guy that can actually rake and take like Sabonis. I've seen him push the ball, lead the break, initiate offense. I think he's an underrated passer as well. And if you look at his career numbers defensively, he's been averaging over a block and over a steal per game for most of his career. So, again, he probably can't cover ground the same way that he used to, but that's actually not a bad idea, I think, in my mind. I really hadn't given much thought to Andre Drummond. And I don't know kind of what his role is in Chicago either, but that's an interesting one. I'm not really – I would do a little more investigating on that maybe.
Sounds like Drummond's your best friend, Calvin.
I do really like Andre Drummond. I think he's been an underrated player in the NBA for a long time.
Hate it or love it, Calvin likes Drummond. He likes Drummond. Interesting. I don't think I'd do that deal. I really don't. Alex, what's up, dude? He says, would it be impossible to get Bol without giving up Munch? He'd be a great fit. I'm impressed by Mathurin. He's a freak and has dog in him. I don't think the Kings are going to get Bol, but that's just me. He's starting.
Not anymore.
They went after him.
The ship has sailed on that one. He's playing out of his mind good right now.
They had their chance. Didn't go for it. And everyone looks good until not everyone. I'll say injury-prone guys look good, and everyone wants them until that injury bug creeps back up on them again. I really, wish the best for Bol, but he's had some injury concerns in the past, so we'll see how long he can stay healthy. Bryce, I'm in bed with COVID and just wanted to stop in before I fell asleep. Sorry, Bryce. Hope you feel better, man.
Yeah, get well soon, man.
Great win tonight. Thank you for stopping in. We appreciate you. Yeah, the COVID thing is coming back. It's crazy. It's crazy. My phone told me last week, Calvin, or a couple days ago, it told me that. I told you on, what was that, Monday? My phone was like, you've been exposed 10 days ago. That doesn't help me. Calvin, that doesn't help me at all. My phone telling me I was exposed to somebody with COVID 10 days ago.
Yeah. Yeah, that does not help.
Dennis says, what about the volcano? You want to trade for a volcano, Dennis, or you want to give
Whose
an update?
nickname is the volcano?
You want to give an update, Calvin, on the volcano?
I don't have much of an update, honestly. I mean, it's still going. There's a lot of really cool videos on YouTube you can watch, actually. It's like watching a giant real-life lava lamp. You know, it's just slow oozing lava coming out of the volcano. The last thing I heard was they still haven't evacuated anybody. They're not concerned yet about that. So right now it's more of an geological sort of feat or spectacle, I think, than a danger or an emergency.
Yeah, Mike says we're on fire tonight. Not with the volcano.
Just like the volcano.
Not with the volcano. Shout out to Fred, dude. Fred, tonight was loud and proud. Fred, I hope you were at the game, and I hope you got your free chocolate chip cookie for those 2 missed free throws.
Man, those cookies probably tasted real good. Not as good as what did the fans in Philadelphia get when Ben Simmons missed those 2 free throws? It was like chicken nuggets or something. Those are probably the best nuggets they've ever had.
Oh, he saw Skip. Yeah, Skip's been there, man. I'm jealous. I'm so jealous of you guys. Calvin and I got to go to the first game. Obviously, we lost. Haven't been since. Faquan, shout out to you. So, do we figure out what was it that came out of Chetty Osman? Did you see that yellow substance that came out of him? That they're all calling him an alien.
See that?
What is that, dude?
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's all conspiracy at this point, I think.
That's crazy. That is really, yeah. PK. Fred saw Skip Bayless at the game. Fred, did you see 50 Cent? Because I'd be interested if you saw 50 Cent and maybe did he look like a wankster at the game? Oh man, I'm bad.
Oh my god,
I'm bad.
How many more do you even know? How many more 50 Cent songs can you even name at this point?
Oh, I got a bunch. I know them all, Calvin. I know them all. You know, I sat next to what's the dude's name? When I was in junior high at Holmes, I sat next to this one dude everyone called Dollar Bill, and 50 Cent was his favorite rapper, so he showed me a lot of Fitty. All right, moving on here. I got a few more things to talk about. I want to talk a little bit about Malik Monk, my guy, 20 points tonight. I also want to let you guys know, if you like Malik Monk, if you were digging the Band-Aid, we got a brand new Band-Aid tee on the website. It's on royalrebounds.com. It's on sale right now. So make sure you guys check out the big Band-Aid tee. It looks pretty dope. It's got a big, large Band-Aid, and yes, I did design it. All the way across the front, it says Royal Rebounds on it. Show some support for your Kings, for us, and for Malik Monk. Go ahead and pick up one of those T-shirts while the supplies last. So Calvin, we know that Malik had a good game tonight. What about that flagrant one foul? Can you tell me about that? Was that legit? Was that not legit? What was your thoughts on that call, and why do the refs hate us so much?
Well, look, I think that call was just unfortunately the product of instant replay. I mean, that unfortunately that's the way that the rules have gone. You know, the way that everybody in every sport is trying to protect shots to the head now. When you watch that in slow motion replay, it looks like he, shoved his elbow straight into his face. In real time, it's more of a bang bang type thing, and it's, the defender jumping into where Malik Monk is. So in real time, I think it's a no call. But when you look at it 16 times in a row in slow motion, And the way that the rules are enforced now and protection about, hits to the head and stuff like that, I certainly wasn't surprised to see them call it a flagrant one. That's all I can say. I think that the more you watch that play, the more you see his elbow fly into his head. You can see the jaw, snap up. Hopefully he didn't bite his tongue off. That probably hurt a lot. But man, it's just an unfortunate play. And then when you slow it down and look at it over and over again, you're going to see that he hits him in the head. So whether you like the call or not, that's what the call is meant to try to stop. It's hits to the head, and it's just an unfortunate play.
Charles has got a good comment here. Charles says that flagrant one was legit-ish. They initially looked at it for a hostile act. The flagrant was a lighter punishment, and yeah, it got called not because of intent, but because of the carelessness, ? Yeah, I thought it was a bullshit call. I'm just going to leave that there. I thought we were playing basketball. It's a bang-bang play. People run into each other. Last time I checked, this wasn't soccer. No offense to soccer, because I played soccer for a long time. But, those guys, they just fall on the ground for no reason sometimes. And that's kind of how I felt like this incident unfortunately went down. I thought it should have been a no call. I thought it should have been a no call.
Devin Booker wasn't playing in this game. Nobody fell on the ground for no reason. That elbow definitely hurt.
Says the guy Monk hit fractured something in his face. Well, Ninja, that guy needs to get a stronger face, man, if you're going to be playing center in the NBA, because people, they do their thing. You guys saw last year. How many times did Rashawn Holmes get hit in the face and knocked his eyeballs out? And I mean, dude, he wasn't complaining. So, I don't know. I thought it was a bad call.
I didn't see Jalen Smith do any complaining either. Or was that Jalen Smith? No, that was somebody else.
I thought it was a horrible call.
Him, wasn't it?
Horrible call, in my opinion.
Horrible call.
That's my guy Malik, dude. Malik's like 6 feet tall. He can dunk on anybody. And he should have, dude. That's my new J.R. Smith, man. Give him some room.
Then he should have dunked on him, and he wouldn't have hit him in the face with an elbow.
Well, yeah. Well, I'll let him know. Maybe next time, he can not. Calvin, I'm just so tired of people that get hit in the face and get hit in the eye, because they all play like they're the victim. And it's like, dude, you got hit in the face. How did you not see it coming? Your eyes are on your face. You should have saw it coming. You should have moved out of the way. They play the victim card, man, too much.
Speaking of seeing it coming, I hope you guys are all seeing what's about to come next. I feel that this is getting ridiculous out here.
It's ridiculous. It's obvious what's being done out here. It's on a nightly basis. I hope the world can see now what's really going on out here, because it's getting.
I hope the world can see now what's going on out here, because it's Charles. I don't work for Uber, but I love The Simpsons. What's up, Kristen? Good to see you here. Welcome in. All right. Well, since I just got called a homer, which is okay. I figured, Calvin, I'm gonna give you a little bit of an opportunity here. Little one, just the little one. If I give you an inch, don't take a mile. Don't take a mile. Just a little bit. I thought this Pacers team has got some potential. They got some good young players. I don't want to talk too much about them, but I just want to hear a quick thing from you about what you like about this Pacers team. The young talent. And, just give me a preview on what you can expect from this team through the rest of the year. And honestly, Calvin, what I really want to know is how many points they're going to lose by Sacramento in the next game.
So you want me to build them up just so I can tear them down and say Sacramento's going to win by 40 points? That's okay. I can do that. Look, I think Indiana's playing with house money at this point. They probably did not expect to be in the position that they're in, but they acquired a player in Tyrese Halliburton at the draft deadline last year, at the trade deadline last year, that really fits the rest of this team very, very well. They play fast. They spread the floor. They've got a bunch of really good shooters, but they also have guys that can attack the rim really well. And when you play fast with a point guard that has really good vision, like Tyrese does, as well as his ability to space the floor with the three ball, the lane gets opened up a lot. And that's why they're second in the league in fast break points. That's why Ben Mathurin is leading the league in points per game for rookies, off the bench still, by the way. We didn't even see Chris Duarte in this game. He's another really good knockdown shooter that can spread the floor for you. And Jalen Smith, another acquisition who, was riding the bench in Phoenix, couldn't really get on the floor, has completely transformed his game as well. So there's a lot of things to like about this Indiana team for the future. They're young. I don't know what is going to happen with Miles Turner in the future. Whether or not they retain him, if they make a run at the playoffs, do they try to keep him? Do they trade him at the deadline? But I think when you look at their young core of guards and wing players, they're really, really young. They should be able to lock these guys up for a long time, and they should be a highly entertaining, fast-paced team to watch for many years to come. But Sacramento will beat them by 30 points in Indiana.
30, I like it. That's improvement. Right? We want to win by at least 30. I like Miles Turner. We'll see what happens with him. I think that's an interesting thing, right? Is maybe he fits that team, maybe he doesn't. I know he's a unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. Do they keep rocking with this young talent? They've been drafting exceptionally well. And then obviously, they got Tyrese Halliburton. That's the last time I'm going to say that name tonight. But it's a good young team with a lot of potential. So we'll see. We'll definitely see what happens with them.
And Indiana, you got to give your hats off to their front office and the way that organization is run. This is a team that's only missed the playoffs, I think, 9 times in the last 31 seasons or something like that. They're always competitive, no matter whether they have a huge star or not on the team. They always seem to find a way to win games and stay in the mix in the Eastern Conference, and they're doing it again right now.
Yep. Great point. All right, just a few more things to discuss here before we move into the next couple games and we give some previews. First off, I want to acknowledge that, we've been going through a little bit of a tough time here, right? We were on a 3-game losing streak after that incredible 7-game winning streak. We do win tonight. This is the last game of November. The Kings are officially 9-5 for November, Calvin. 9-5. That's great. I can't even remember the last time that we were above 500 in November, much less posting a record almost, double the wins as losses. So definitely huge improvement for the Sacramento Kings. And let's take a look here at the Western Conference standings. The Kings are officially the 6th seed right now at 11-9. 11-9. You see it. Phoenix is still number 1. Unfortunately, they beat the Kings the other night. You got Denver, New Orleans, Memphis. You got the Clippers, who the Kings take on Saturday. And then Utah is still in there, Golden State, Minnesota, and Portland. Calvin, give me your thoughts here on this Western Conference standings. Any movement you expect to see here in the next few weeks?
Yeah, I expect to see movement the rest of the way as long as we're playing basketball here. Again, a lot of good teams in both conferences. They're going to beat each other up. You're going to see the Utah Jazz are the perfect example, right? I mean, they shot off to an amazing start. What were they, 12-6? Now all of a sudden did they lose tonight? Anybody know?
Let me check.
They're either 12-11 or 12-12. So there's going to be ups and downs, I think, for every team in the conference.
Nope.
And it's going to be about what all teams say all the time, right? You want to hit your stride at the right time. You want to be playing your best basketball, late into the season after the All-Star break, end of February, into March, and then March right into the playoffs. That's the goal, I think, for all these teams.
So here is tonight's games. Cleveland beats Philadelphia. Atlanta beats Orlando. Boston and Miami. That was an exciting game. Almost 50 points for Jason Tatum. Brooklyn beats Washington. You got Milwaukee beats the Knicks. Minnesota beats Memphis. New Orleans beats Toronto. Oklahoma City over San Antonio. Denver over Houston. Phoenix over Chicago. And then you got Utah over the Clippers. Kings over the Pacers. And the LA Lakers over the Portland Trailblazers. The Lakers have been heating up, Calvin. They have been heating up. They are moving up the standings. What are your thoughts on the Lakers right now? Because I still hate them.
I mean, the Lakers are still a dangerous team. I'm not going to sit here and say that they're going to end the year, as the 1 seed in the Western Conference. But if Anthony Davis plays the way that he's played over the past, 10, 12 games, he's been playing like one of the best players in the league, like the old Anthony Davis that before he had all these injury-prone labels on him. He was a top 5 to top 10 player in the NBA, an MVP candidate. And that's what he's looked like. You get LeBron back healthy, add another 20 to 24 points a game, as well as a guy who can really get stuff going for other players. Westbrook's been really good off the bench. This is a team that's already been playing pretty good defense for the whole year. Their problem was they just couldn't throw a grape in the ocean. Lonnie Walker has gotten hot. So it's still a dangerous team when you have LeBron and Anthony Davis healthy, as well as Westbrook, and all of them playing at a high level. I don't think anybody wants to see that team down the stretch of the NBA season. So it'll be interesting to see. Again, a lot of good teams. There's a lot of good teams in the Western Conference. Very, very true.
All right, moving on here. We got some news to announce. This happened a couple days ago, so you guys might have heard it already. But De'Aaron Fox officially signs with Clutch Sports, which is the agency that LeBron James is part of. And this is an article from Fadeaway World saying De'Aaron Fox denies that signing with Clutch Sports means he wants to leave the Sacramento Kings. It's a few different rumors we heard throughout the week, but he's been insistent that he is not leaving the Kings, does not want out. This was more of a business deal to give him more connections in the industry and just put himself in a better position. Calvin, any thoughts on De'Aaron Fox leaving his current agent and signing with Clutch Sports?
Happy for him. This is a big year for De'Aaron Fox. He's about to have a baby. He got married. He's elevated his game. He's changing his life, and this is one of the ways that he has decided to change his life for the better. I think it's unfortunate that people immediately assume the worst. There could be a lot of reasons why you would make a move like this. I think growing your brand and trying to make more money is probably the first and foremost, and he can do that in Sacramento. So you get this team into the playoffs, he becomes a god basically in Sacramento after sticking it out for all those years of being bad. So I think, again, the dude has done everything that Sacramento Kings fans have asked of him or wanted him to do. He's stuck it out through being a bad team. He's improved his game. He's improved the areas that people critique him on the most. He is happy now. He looks like he's taken on a leadership role. He's playing really good defense. And his life is changing for the better around him because of all that hard work. So my hat's off to De'Aaron Fox. I'm happy for him.
Thank you, Lydia. Have a wonderful evening. Thanks for joining us. ESPN will have the Kings talks. Wait, what? Especially will have Kings talks this year for damn sure. And I think ESPN's going to be talking about the Kings tomorrow and the next couple days as well after this victory. So I'm definitely happy for that. I'm happy for De'Aaron Fox and for all the Sacramento Kings players. And I mean, as you mentioned, right, the fact that he could be a hero for this city, I think that De'Aaron really wants that. I think he embraces that. You look at a guy like Kawhi Leonard, who, was the hero in Toronto, right? This dude could have re-signed in Toronto. He would have been an absolute legend in Toronto forever. He decided he wasn't about that life. He didn't want that. He wanted to move on, go to LA. We saw how that worked out for him. But I don't think that De'Aaron Fox is that guy. I think he wants to be in Sacramento. He wants to win with this team. And I think that he wants to be a legend and will be a legend in Sacramento. So very, very happy. I think this is just another business move. Nothing that really has anything to do with what happens on the basketball court. All right, next up, a little bit of drama here, Calvin. We got some drama. ASU's Marcus Bagley says he was suspended for a tweet about an incident with Bob Hurley. If you have not been paying attention or if you've been living under a rock, this is Marvin Bagley's brother. Calvin, let him have it.
Well, I just want to know, did Marcus actually send this tweet or was it his father? That's the only question I want to know. Because we all know that Mr. Bagley Sr. loves to get on Twitter and start some shit.
Interesting thing. Nothing to do with the Kings. Just thought I'd throw it out there for you guys. All right, next up, couple more things to talk about before we move into the next couple games and we take questions. So if you guys have questions, go ahead and drop them here in the chat. Definitely.
Don't worry, PK. We're going to get to your question. I've seen it in the chat like 3 or 4 times, so we'll get there. PK.
Okay, go for it. We could do it right now. What's the question?
Well, he wants to know, do we get an all-star this year?
Do we get an all-star this year? I think we get 2 all-stars this year. I think we get Fox and Sabonis.
Wow. That'd be really good. That'd be really great. So here's the question, though. If somebody is in the 3-point contest, does that count as an all-star?
We got 4 all-stars then this year, Calvin. But I think it really depends on wins. It really just depends on wins.
Unfortunately, yes, a lot of it is going to depend on wins. Yep. As much as I would love to see any of these guys get in the All-Star game, I think that Fox and Sabonis are both deserving of it. I think it's going to be really hard, especially for Fox. His numbers have to be off the charts good, and that's not because I feel like he's not going to get noticed this season. I think people are already noticing the Kings, and they're noticing De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis. But if you look around the rest of the Western Conference, there's this guy in Oklahoma City named SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's posting some of the most ridiculous numbers I've ever seen on a nightly basis. The dude's stat line is absolutely ridiculous. You got guys like Doncic. There's all these great guards. So when you have to overcome the fact that, there's people like LeBron who are just automatically going to command so many fan votes, and then you have to overcome all these other guys who are putting up absolutely bonkers numbers every night, it's going to be really tough because there's so much competition in there. But I think that he's definitely deserving of it. Yeah,
I agree. And that kind of transitions right into my next question for you. And that's Malik Monk. Is he a 6th man of the year candidate? I think he's 4th in scoring among bench players. Obviously, I think the 6th man of the year record, just like I was saying with the All-Stars, is really dependent on how many wins your team gets, right? Like if Malik Monk is on a really good basketball team and he's lighting it up from the bench, he's going to get a lot more looks for 6th man than opposed to like a Ben Mathurin. If the Pacers just slowly fall off here and aren't really doing much. What's up, Key Kings? So Calvin, what do you think is the chance that Malik Monk gets a nod? Is in the conversation for 6th man? Is he already in the conversation? And what is the odds that, in your mind, that he actually could win this award this year?
I think he's definitely in the conversation. The dude has played well enough, and he's had enough big-time moments, big-time games. As you mentioned, 4th in scoring off of the bench. He's definitely in the conversation, I would say, and I think he should be until the end of the year. But you've got to keep this up, right? Like he can't really sort of falter in any way. I mean, he's not going to have. He's got to keep shooting and he's got to keep scoring. Like we've seen him become, or not necessarily become, but we've seen him be a playmaker, and that has surprised a lot of people in Sacramento at maybe how good he was, even though he can be a little careless with the ball sometimes. But the way that he's going to make the most impact in terms of getting votes for 6th man of the year is to continue being the torrid microwave scorer for this team off the bench and continuing to put up 20 points, on a nightly basis.
Here's a great question here from Key Kings. Shout out. Key Kings always has the best questions. What's more likely, Monk winning 6th man of the year, Monty winning executive of the year, or Mike Brown winning coach of the year? That's a tough one.
I'm going to go with Mike Brown winning coach of the year is the most likely here. Just because, again, when this team plays its best, it's a very equal opportunity offense. It's share the ball, move the ball. We saw all 5 starters in double figures tonight. That's how they play at their highest level. So what that means is one night, one guy is going to lead the team in scoring. The next night, it could be somebody completely different, which makes me think that it's more likely that Mike Brown gets the accolade for the total team success of this team breaking the drought and getting into the playoffs as opposed to an individual award.
Yeah, great point. I think if, Keegan Murray if he were to win Rookie of the Year or have like just an amazing season, that would help Monty's case a little bit more. If he made a blockbuster deal in the offseason or potentially before the deadline, that would help his case. So I'm going to agree with you. I think Mike Brown winning Coach of the Year is probably the most likely at this point. Although, those aren't mutually exclusive. So more than one of those things could happen. Very well could happen. Two more things before we jump here into the next game against the Clippers. First off, the Kings officially file a trademark for the nickname Beam Team. Take that for whatever you will. Obviously, you guys saw the T-shirts tonight with Beam Team on it and all that stuff. This was a nickname that came up out of this 7-game winning streak. So the Kings are trademarking it. So we'll see what happens there. And then my final question for you, Calvin. When is the proper time to light the beam? Can we light the beam if we're up 40? Can we light the beam if we're up 50? What about in the third quarter, fourth quarter? Should the beam be lit when the buzzer expires there? What is a proper way to light the beam and timing on a beam lighting?
Timing on a beam lighting. I like that. They definitely could have lit the beam probably right when the fourth quarter started today. But that being said, I think it's a pretty cool thing, to have a different person, player of the game or whatever the case may be, come over and light the beam after the game is over. It gives a reason for fans to stay. Even a blowout game like this, there's still a lot of people at the game all the way to the wire because they want to see the beam lit. So I think it's a really cool thing. Terrence Davis obviously stole the show when he did it the first time. So for that reason, even though they definitely could have had the beam lit very, very early tonight, probably wait until the end of the game. Make it more of a feature.
Light the beam. I love it, dude. Light the beam. What if they had like the crowd had to chant, and it had to get like over a certain decibel for the beam to be lit, if they're like light the beam, and when it got over, like we saw Baby, right? We saw Baby in the arena tonight on the TV. What's the first thing you said when you saw the Baby?
I said, put some headphones on that baby. It's too loud in there.
That'd be cool if the volume of the fans could light the beam. I think that'd be really, really cool. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. I'm tired of living in the past, even though the Kings are looking pretty good here. Let's talk about Saturday's game and, the importance of getting 2 days off at home as they currently are. They're probably not going to travel for this game until potentially Saturday morning since it is in California. It is in LA against the Clippers. Let's take a look here and see. Trey Lyles is out. Chima Manecki is listed as out, and these could change in the next couple of days, right? Luke Kennard is out for the Clippers. Paul George is out. Kawhi Leonard, Norman Powell. Are the Clippers going to have enough players to play tonight? I mean, it seems like half their team is injured here. But Calvin,
signing some 10-day contracts.
Give me your thoughts on this game. And we'll wait on keys the game for a little bit.
Well, the Kings are obviously lucky that Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are out, but they're even more lucky that Norman Powell could be out for this game because that dude has been on an absolute tear as of late. He's been their leading scorer nightly and has really, really figured things out. For a guy that started the season on the bench, he's kind of been in a very up and down role ever since they acquired him from Portland, but a very, very capable scorer. And this team loves to spread it around and shoot a lot of threes. So the Kings are going to have to defend the three-point line for sure.
Yeah. Interesting game. I'm trying to find the spread here, and I don't know if they have the spread out on this game yet. But obviously, it says that the Kings are not the favorites to win this game. The Clippers beat the Utah Jazz tonight, 121-114. They lost their last two games, one to Golden State, one to Denver. So they're kind of in a very similar situation as the Kings, right? They were on a little bit of a winning streak, got on a little bit of a losing streak, and then bounced out of it tonight. So it'll be interesting to see how this game works out. Obviously, if Kawhi and Paul George don't play, that's absolutely huge. And like you said, gives a big, big advantage to the Sacramento Kings. But, it comes to a point, and, we keep talking about this schedule is so tough and all this. This team has shown that they're a good basketball team, and I'm talking about the Kings here. They've shown some adversity, and they've fought through a couple different issues. So, I'm kind of at the point where I'm tired of like dodging teams and dodging players. If Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are healthy for this game, I'm not going to be disappointed because, if we want to be a good basketball team, we got to beat good basketball teams. We can't be like the Golden State Warriors and trying to line up against all these teams in the playoffs that are missing their best players. It just doesn't work like that, Calvin. We're not the Golden State Warriors. We can't always get lucky and play against teams whose best players are always injured. So I say bring on Paul George, bring on the Claw. I'm ready to take down both of these guys. I'm just excited for another Sacramento Kings game. It is an early game, which they haven't played well in, but it's in California, and I think it's an easy trip. I think this is an important game to win for the Sacramento Kings because, as I was mentioning, we'll look at it here in a second, the schedule gets pretty rough here for a while. Yeah. So, Calvin, give me your keys to the game. I know you said cover the 3. I definitely have that here. But what are your other keys to this basketball game?
Well, yeah, keys to the game for me would be to defend the 3. I need to see Sabonis play the same way that he played tonight. He's going to have a tough battle inside with Zubats. Winning the rebounding battle is going to be very imperative. But I think if Sabonis is able to get some good defensive rebounds in there, he's got to look to kind of rake and take and start the break like he did tonight. That's a huge advantage I think he could get on Zubats. Playing in the half court, Zubats maybe doesn't have an advantage, but can definitely bang bodies down inside with Domas. He can't stay with him on the fast break. So, and the Clippers are a pretty good defensive team all around. So if they can get some easy buckets in this game, transition opportunities like they did today, they'll be in good shape. And then I would say my third key is let's get Kevin Huerter going, man. Like this guy has been in a little bit of a shooting slump. We keep talking about Keegan Murray because Kevin Huerter has been still good in other areas of the game and has found ways to score even when his outside shot hasn't fallen. But we know that the Kings are a much more dangerous team when he's getting in rhythm threes and they're just ripping the net like it's not even touching it, So let's try to get Kevin Huerter back on track in this game as well.
Great points. Ninja says my keys are to win the boards, limit turnovers, and win the fast break game. I think those are our goals of this Kings team pretty much every single night. But yeah, I agree with you, Calvin. In terms of this Clippers team, this is a great 3-and-D team. So you got to get easy buckets when you can. You got to limit the 3-point attempts for them. And yeah, you just got to play tough basketball. We'll see if the stars are available for the Clippers or not. I know Zubats has been killing it inside, so maybe they can help slow him down a little bit. But definitely a huge game for the Kings and for the Clippers as well. We saw them get bounced last year in the play-in tournament. They don't want to be in that same position again. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Has John Wall been playing well? I haven't watched too much of the Clippers as of recently.
He has been playing well. In fact, I think he's either number 1 or number 2 in the NBA in assists off the bench. So
oh, wow.
He's done a really good job of facilitating their offense in the second unit, or whether when he's playing with the starters. His outside shot has looked pretty good to me too. I don't know when the plan is to kind of ramp up his minutes, but I would expect it to happen at some point this season. He's done a really good job for them this year.
Ninja says 26 for John Wall tonight. That's going to be an interesting matchup to watch. John Wall versus De'Aaron Fox. I know a lot of people would pay to watch that.
We'll get on him a lot in that game. That'll be a key matchup to watch.
Definitely. All right, looking at the rest of the schedule here, as we mentioned, they take on the Clippers on Saturday. We got a doubleheader this weekend, back home for Sunday's game against the Chicago Bulls, also an early game. And then they head out on this tough 6-game road trip. You're playing Milwaukee. In Milwaukee, you play Cleveland, New York, the Knicks, not the Nets. We're not that lucky. The Sixers. Then we're facing the Toronto Raptors, and then we end the trip in Detroit against the Pistons before we return home for a 6-game homestand. So, definitely some important games here. The Kings are currently 2 games above 500, so I'm keeping eyes on this Clipper game and the Chicago Bulls game. I think they're really, really important before this road trip to try and help at least get some momentum. I'm glad they won tonight and stopped that 3-game slide, but this road trip is definitely going to show us what this Sacramento Kings team is made of. And it's a lot of games and not very many nights, right? I mean, you play on Wednesday, then you have Thursday off, you play Friday, you have Saturday off, you play Sunday, you have Monday off, you play Tuesday, then you play a back-to-back on Wednesday. So Tuesday is in Philadelphia, Wednesday is in Toronto. That's going to be a tough one. And then you go on Wednesday to play a game. And all these games are on the road. You're bouncing all over the East Coast here. So definitely a tough road trip. Calvin, any thoughts here on some of these upcoming games?
This is going to be a tough stretch, right? I mean, this is we may look back, later on in the season once we get past the All-Star break and say the Kings are in a position right now to make the playoffs or even to avoid the play-in tournament, and it could very well be because of how they played on this big 6-game road trip, or it could be vice versa. I mean, you definitely don't want to go into a huge tank here when you get on the road. These are some really important games, and they're against really good teams, so it's a great way to measure yourself up against good competition in the NBA. The Kings have done that all year long, so hopefully they're able to continue that against perhaps even better teams looking forward.
Yeah, it is going to be a tough month. December will be tough for the Sacramento Kings, but like I said, I'm tired of dodging teams, tired of dodging good players. We're not the Golden State Warriors. We're not going to get lucky and play against.
You got to go into these games with the attitude that you can compete to win.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly. So this is definitely going to let us know. I say, January 1st against the Memphis Grizzlies, we're going to have a really, really good idea of what this Kings team is made of and what we can expect for them through the rest of the year. And honestly, everyone's talking about trades here in the chat. Shout out to Bench Matthew here. But, I think if I'm Monty, I'm holding off at the moment, right? Because I see this really, really tough road trip and these next couple weeks is really going to help solidify in my mind whether I should be making a deal, whether I should stay put, and what might be the right move. So I think he's definitely paying really, really close attention to this next month of basketball. We mentioned most players that sign in the offseason become trade eligible on the 15th of December, so that's about 2 weeks away. But yeah, this is going to show where this team excels and where this team has a lot of issues. So definitely will be a good test here. Hopefully we don't break anything in this test. Okay, I think that wraps us up for games. Calvin, let's go ahead and answer questions. So if you guys got any questions, go ahead and drop them here in the chat. We'd be happy to cover them all. But Calvin, anything that you've seen, because I miss a ton of these here in the chat, and maybe I need to make you the question guy in the future. 21 questions, but anything
21.
that's pressing at the moment?
I've really just seen the debate on whether or not the Kings need to add a major superstar to this team in order to take them over the hump, or if they're good enough as currently composed, so to speak, in order to compete.
Well, for me personally, I think that they should hold off and wait. Let's see, like I said, what this road trip shows us. But one thing I was mentioning to Calvin during the game is kind of that Metu Sabonis thing. Is we've seen that this team has already kind of chosen what their style is going to be, and they're plug and playing guys in that kind of fit that style. So that tells me that they're probably not in the market to make a huge deal. They're just looking to improve in positions, improve players that already play inside the system, just get guys that maybe can do that a little bit better, or maybe they can do that and add something else like rim protection, something like that. But honestly, I don't see the Kings making a big splash deal here. That was probably Kevin Huerter in the offseason, and obviously adding in a guy like Keegan Murray, who I think is going to continue to get better throughout this season, is basically like a trade in itself. But what are your thoughts, Cal?
Well, I think the debate here that everybody's having in the chat is, does this team need a star in order to be good enough to win ultimately, right? And Obviously it helps, right? The NBA is a star league. Most teams don't win without one or more, if not two or three stars on their team. You know, as we've seen the super teams become kind of more and more of a thing in recent memory. But the one thing I will say is this team doesn't need a star. It could certainly help them, but Mike Brown is a guy that they brought in to do two things, right? To change the culture in this organization, within this franchise, into a winning culture, and to fix their defensive problems. They've still got a long way to go to do that, yes. But if he can figure out a way to get this team to like a top 15, top 10 defensive team with the way that they're currently constructed, again, that's a stretch that they would have to really, really improve a lot as a team. But we've seen them make improvements. It's a slow build. If that happens with, one of the top, if not the best offenses in the NBA, they're definitely good enough to win. Whether or not they're good enough to win an NBA title, that's another story. But they could look a lot like the Detroit Pistons of the early 2000s, who had zero true superstars on their team, but they were such a good team. Built the right way, played really, really good team defense, shut down two of the greatest players in NBA history in the championship series, and won. That recipe, while it might be rarer or more difficult, it's certainly there.
Yep. Yeah, I don't deny that at all. Mike's kind of asking the same question. Shout out to Mike. Should we make one more trade this year? Mike, that's a tough one, right? Because I'm going to just stick to what I've always said. And it's not about making trades to make trades. It's about making trades that improve this basketball team. I think there will be another trade that happens this year. Whether it's a big deal, I probably don't think it will be. But we've seen every single year Monty has kind of looked for guys that are a little underrated. We saw it with Terrence Davis. We saw it with DeLon Wright, where he just kind of makes these little tweaks, guys that can help add another aspect to this team. I expect to see at least one of those deals before the trade deadline. But I don't know if it's going to be anything that really, pushes the needle or anything like that. Augustin says Barnes, Holmes, and a 2024 first-round pick for John Collins. Calvin, we're still talking about John Collins. Would you do this deal?
I'm sorry, I can't see it. What was the deal again?
Barnes, Holmes, and a 2024 first-round pick for John Collins.
Ooh, man, that's tough. That's tough. I don't know. I'm really torn on it. Harrison Barnes is playing really, really well right now. And I think that John Collins would be exciting to see with De'Aaron Fox, especially for a team that plays fast and tries to get out and run. That could be a pretty special combination. But I just think the more you see the Kings play the way they did tonight, not necessarily a blowout victory, but playing really well in the half-court defense. Their scrambles were good. They were covering to the three-point line really well tonight. They forced Indiana into some really, really bad mistakes for a team that takes care of the ball pretty well with a guy like Tyrese Halliburton at the control. You add that into the fact that they already have this really, really fine-tuned offense. The more games you see like this, the less likely it is that I think you see a trade.
Yeah, Charles says, I'm not giving up anybody in my 9. That's probably like a top 9 players plan. Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens here. Bench Matthew says, would Kings fans resent the idea of buying talent of a superstar to break the streak? I wonder if we should ride this season to the end and make a move in the offseason if needed. Calvin, how do you feel about that? Buying talent, like a 1-year rental, I guess, maybe?
Well, you're making the assumption that the Kings can buy the talent that you need or that you want. I mean, they have money to spend, right? But when is the last time that a big-time free agent signed a really big deal in Sacramento? It hasn't happened. So I think that until you get to the point where the Kings are no longer a laughing stock, right? Teams respect them. You hear it all across the league right now. This is a dangerous team. We don't want to play them. That they're coming, they're hungry, all this stuff. So they're starting to move past that. But I think until you get to a point where you're really established as a good team, it's going to be really hard to lure a big-time free agent in free agency by just throwing money at them, because you still have to compete with all the other teams in this league, including teams like the Warriors, who have shown that they'll just spend money and money and money and money just to keep, the championship window open. So that's a pretty big gamble, I would say, and not something that I would want to be relying on. It was, I'm just going to go out and buy a big-time player.
Yes. And we do have some salary. I believe we have like $25 million in salary cap space at the end of the season. That's if Harrison Barnes is not re-signed, which after the Kings do sign somebody, they could go over the salary cap to bring back Harrison Barnes since he's already been on the team. So that'll be interesting to see. They do have some money. Not a lot of big name guys though that are available this offseason. I think I saw like D'Angelo Russell and a couple other like kind of mid-tier guys that don't really help this team that much. Bench Matthew says our clubhouse is really good right now. Would Draymond add or take away from the culture? I worry about that. I don't want Draymond Green on this team.
Yeah, I'm going to say no to that as well. I worry about what that would do. I think Draymond, I do view him as a leader in some ways. He doesn't always do the right thing that a leader should do. But I think that taking Draymond off a team like the Warriors that has been successful the whole time he's been there, and then all of a sudden having to go to a young team, that sounds like a recipe for disaster. I think it could get very bad very quickly, potentially.
Yeah, I could see that, because it seems like Draymond's all good and happy when they're winning. But when things are not going his way, he turns into a different kind of guy, and things are not always going to go his way here in Sacramento. So it's funny, as much as I say, give him a chance. I'd love to have Cousins back and all this. For the longest time, we were really held captive by a player like that, and I don't want to be in that situation again. I'm afraid that could happen with a Draymond Green on your basketball team. Shout out to Ryan. Good to see you, Ryan. Callum says get Paul George. I like Paul George a lot, but that dude seems to be getting like a new shoulder every year.
Yeah, I'd love to have Paul George, but how easy is that to do? I don't know.
He's always injured, bro. He's always injured. Always.
He might be. I'd still take him on my team, but I just
He
don't
was even
think
playing
that
in the playoffs. He
got COVID.
Yeah,
that wasn't an injury. He got COVID.
That's what I'm saying.
If he even had it, maybe he just had a false positive.
He was healthy enough to play in terms of like his shoulders were holding up. Then he gets COVID, doesn't play, and then he still gets shoulder surgery in the offseason, Calvin.
I get taking the shots at him being hurt, but come on, man. Let's give him a little break for the COVID positive test. That's not. I don't know if that's quite fair. He's a phenomenal player. I'd love to.
What is our weakest position? We going with center?
Power forward.
Power forward, weakest position?
We don't have a power forward. Our power forward plays center.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. All right, I think that pretty much wraps it up for tonight. Any last things you want to mention, Calvin? I want to thank everybody for joining in. We appreciate you all.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching. That was a fun one. Man, I'm still hearing the light the beam chant in the background. It's good. Got the chain back on. I hope that we can continue this run here. We get another win on what is it? What is today? Wednesday? When do they play again? Saturday?
Thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate you all so much. Don't forget to smash up that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Great win tonight. Kings win 137-114 over Tyrese Halliburton and the Indiana Pacers. We will see you all on Saturday after the Clippers game. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful evening and go Kings.
The Kings won, yeah. Oh yeah, the Kings won, yeah. The Sacramento Kings, oh yeah, the Kings won, yeah. Fox is so fast. Sabonis. is so strong, yeah. Coach Mike is so smart, yeah. They are the playoff bound, yeah.